You've always known, haven't you? Deep down, you felt something different about yourself, a pull, a whisper, a knowing that goes beyond the ordinary. It's subtle, yet impossible to ignore, and for a long time, you might have brushed it off as just a feeling, just a coincidence. But let me tell you something, there are no coincidences. You've been receiving signs, and you've been receiving them for a reason. You have ancient powers, and the universe has been trying to tell you this all along. But here's the problem, we've been conditioned to ignore these signs. We've been taught to rationalize them away, to dismiss the very things that are meant to awaken us. So, I want to ask you, what signs have you been ignoring? What has been showing up in your life, over and over again, trying to get your attention? Maybe it's a recurring dream, an inexplicable feeling of déjà vu, a synchronicity that's just too perfect to be random. Maybe you've felt an unexplainable connection to ancient cultures, ancient symbols, or places you've never been before but somehow feel like home. These are not just random occurrences. These are messages. These are clues.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
You see, as a chosen one, you carry within you an ancient power that has been passed down through lifetimes. It's not something you can learn from a book or a teacher. It's something that's already inside of you, waiting to be remembered. And that's why the signs keep showing up. They're trying to wake you up to your true nature, to help you remember who you really are. But here's the catch, you have to be willing to see them. You have to stop ignoring them. You have to stop rationalizing them away. Let me ask you another question. What would happen if you stopped ignoring the signs? What would happen if you started paying attention to the messages the universe is sending you? I'll tell you what would happen. Your life would begin to change in ways you can't even imagine. You would start to unlock the ancient powers that have been lying dormant within you. You would start to remember who you really are. But here's the thing, awakening to your ancient powers isn't easy. It requires you to let go of everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world. It requires you to step into the unknown, to trust in something greater than yourself, and to be open to the mysteries of the universe. And that's terrifying for most people. That's why so many chosen ones ignore the signs. They're afraid of what will happen if they truly step into their power. They're afraid of the responsibility that comes with being powerful. But here's the truth, you were born for this. You were born to be powerful. You were born to unlock these ancient powers and use them to fulfill your destiny. So, let me ask you again, what signs have you been ignoring? And more importantly, why? Why have you been ignoring them? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it doubt? Is it the belief that you're not ready, that you're not worthy, that you're not powerful enough? Whatever it is, I want you to know that it's just an illusion. It's not real. The only thing standing between you and your ancient powers is the belief that you don't have them. But the truth is, you've always had them. They've always been there, waiting for you to wake up. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How do I know if these signs are real? How do I know if I really have ancient powers? And that's a valid question. But let me ask you this, how many times have you felt something deep inside of you, something that you couldn't explain, but you knew was true? How many times have you had an experience that defied logic, but you knew without a doubt that it was real? That's your ancient power speaking to you. That's your intuition, your inner knowing, your connection to something greater than yourself. And the more you trust it, the more you listen to it, the stronger it becomes. But here's the key, you have to stop ignoring it. You have to start paying attention. You have to start trusting yourself, because the signs are everywhere. The universe is constantly communicating with you, constantly sending you messages, constantly trying to wake you up to your ancient powers. But if you keep ignoring the signs, if you keep dismissing them as just coincidences, you're going to miss out on the greatest gift you've ever been given. So, let me ask you one final question. Are you ready to stop ignoring the signs? Are you ready to embrace your ancient powers? Because if you are, everything is about to change. Let's get real for a moment. You've been walking through life thinking that all these strange occurrences, all these unexplainable moments, are just anomalies, fleeting experiences that don't mean anything. But what if I told you that they mean everything? That every strange coincidence, every intuitive nudge, every moment of synchronicity is a clue to your ancient powers. You've been given these clues your entire life, but you haven't been paying attention. And now, it's time to start. Think about it. How many times have you had a gut feeling about something, and it turned out to be right? How many times have you known something was going to happen before it did, but you didn't know how you knew? These are not just random occurrences. These are signs of your ancient powers. You have an innate ability to tap into the unseen, to sense things that others can't, to know things that others don't. And you've been doing it your whole life without even realizing it. But here's the problem: we've been taught to ignore these abilities. We've been taught to trust logic over intuition, to believe in what we can see and touch, and to dismiss everything else as fantasy. But the truth is, your intuition is one of your greatest gifts. It's a direct line to your ancient powers. It's how the universe communicates with you, and the more you trust it, the more powerful it becomes. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you trusted your intuition? I mean, really trusted it without second guessing it, without doubting it, without letting your mind talk you out of it. If you can't remember, then you've been ignoring one of the most important signs of your ancient powers. Your intuition is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But if you keep ignoring it, it starts to weaken. And that's a tragedy, because your intuition is your superpower. It's your connection to something greater than yourself. It's your access point to the ancient wisdom that's been passed down to you through lifetimes. But here's the thing: your intuition isn't the only sign of your ancient powers. You've also been given signs in the form of synchronicities, those moments when everything lines up perfectly, when things fall into place in ways that you couldn't have planned. These are not just coincidences. These are signs that you're on the right path, that you're in alignment with your true purpose. And the more you pay attention to these synchronicities, the more they will show up in your life. But let me ask you this: how many times have you brushed off a synchronicity as just a coincidence? How many times have you dismissed the very thing that was meant to guide you? It's easy to do. We've been conditioned to believe that things need to make sense, that they need to be logical. But the universe doesn't operate on logic. It operates on energy, on vibration, on alignment. And when you're in alignment with your true self, with your ancient powers, the universe will move mountains to show you the way. So, the next time you experience a synchronicity, I want you to stop and pay attention. I want you to ask yourself, what is the universe trying to tell me? What message am I receiving? Because I promise you, there's a message there. It might not be obvious at first. It might not make sense right away. But if you keep paying attention, if you keep trusting the signs, the message will become clear. But here's the key: you have to be open to receiving the message. You have to be willing to let go of your need for control, your need for certainty, your need for things to make logical sense. Because your ancient powers don't operate in the realm of logic. They operate in the realm of mystery, of magic, of the unknown. And the more you embrace that, the more powerful you become. So, let me ask you again, are you ready to start paying attention to the signs? Are you ready to start trusting your intuition, to start following the synchronicities, to start deciphering the clues that have been right in front of you all along? Because if you are, your ancient powers are waiting for you. Now, let's talk about symbols. Symbols are one of the most powerful ways the universe communicates with us. They're everywhere, hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to notice them. But here's the thing: most people don't see them. They're too caught up in the noise of everyday life, too distracted by the mundane to notice the sacred language of the universe. But if you're a chosen one, you can't afford to be one of those people. You have to start paying attention to the symbols around you, because they're one of the clearest signs of your ancient powers. Think about it: how many times have you seen a symbol, a number, an animal, a shape that felt significant, but you couldn't explain why? Maybe you've been seeing the same number over and over again, or maybe you've had a recurring dream about a specific animal or place. These are not just random occurrences. These are symbols, and they're trying to communicate something to you. But here's the thing: symbols don't always make sense right away. They're not meant to. They're meant to speak to you on a deeper level, beyond the rational mind. They're meant to activate something within you, to awaken a memory, a knowing, an ancient part of yourself that's been lying dormant. And the more you pay attention to these symbols, the more they will reveal their meaning to you. But let me ask you this: how often do you take the time to really sit with a symbol, to meditate on it, to feel into its meaning? Most of us are too quick to dismiss symbols, to brush them off as meaningless. But if you're a chosen one, you can't afford to do that. You have to start paying attention to the symbols around you, because they're one of the most powerful ways the universe is trying to communicate with you. So, the next time you see a symbol that feels significant, I want you to stop and ask yourself, what does this symbol mean to me? What is it trying to tell me? Don't try to figure it out with your mind. Feel into it. Trust your intuition. Let the symbol speak to you in its own way, in its own time, because I promise you there's a message there. And the more you tune into these symbols, the more you will start to unlock your ancient powers. But here's the key: you have to be willing to let go of your need for things to make sense. You have to be willing to embrace the mystery, to trust in the unknown, because that's where your ancient powers live, in the realm of the unknown. And the more you trust in that, the more powerful you become. So, here we are. You've been given signs your entire life through your intuition, through synchronicities, through symbols. And now, it's time to stop ignoring them. It's time to start paying attention, to start trusting the messages the universe is sending you, to start unlocking your ancient powers. But here's the thing: you have to be willing to answer the call. Because make no mistake, this is a call. A call to step into your true self, to embrace your ancient powers, to fulfill the destiny you were born for. But answering the call isn't easy. It requires you to let go of everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world. It requires you to step into the unknown, to trust in something greater than yourself, and to be open to the mysteries of the universe. So, let me ask you one final question. Are you ready to answer the call? Because if you are, everything is about to change.